Just finishing up some of the mock-up here on the 67 Chevelle dash. Just got it sitting in here, just attached with sheet metal screws right now. I spent a little bit of time, maybe it was overkill, but spent a little bit of time just checking the angles here on the dash panel. Just looking for some consistency. They're not going to be the exact same number across, but what I would hope is that the outermost angle are the same, the outermost on both sides. And then as we work our way to the middle, again, there's a corresponding similar angle on the other side of the dash if we were to split the dash down the middle. So anyway, that looks pretty good. The numbers that I have here, I'm not going to talk about the numbers that I had, and the reason for that is that I've got the motor and transmission out of the car, so it's already setting at an angle, so they're not super helpful. But really, if you want to go that direction, just to make sure that you've got the dash in there the right way and it's consistent from one side to the other, just check your angles in a few reference spots there, and it shouldn't be a problem. And then just inside here, I haven't welded anything yet, but I've got the outer piece of the dash. I've got it clamped to the dash housing, and I've got a good gap. There'll be a little bit of room here for your windlace to go in there, and I've got the same distance on the passenger side. So I'm pretty happy with how centered the dash itself is. So the next thing to do is I'm just going to get in here and make sure that these braces up in this area here, make sure that these are in the right spot. I'm pretty happy with where they are, so just want to make sure they don't move. So once I get everything out, those will get welded into place, and then I'll keep my fingers crossed that when I put the dash back on here, there aren't any problems. So the only thing left to test fit is I am going to grab the windshield, and I'm going to put the windshield here in the hole. I'm mainly wanting to check that because this lower windshield channel is new, and so I just want to make sure that there aren't any surprises once I get ready to put the glass in. And of course the roof skin is new as well, so it's probably not a bad idea just to get in here and test fit the windshield, make sure that it fits the way that it should. Definitely don't want to find that stuff out as I get further into the project. So pretty happy. The only other thing too is I'm gonna use my spot welder, my resistance welder, and I'm gonna weld. I think I've got tongs that are long enough to get in there. So I will I'll update with just a real quick update once everything gets done, but I think we're ready to roll here. Okay, so I've got the upper dash panel welded into the car, and I just use my spot welder to run all the way along this lip, and it's basically a pinch weld between the upper dash panel lip or flange and the lower windshield channel flange. So yeah, I just use my spot welder. I've got a good spot welder. I've got some long tongs, so I'm able to get in there and do that. It's a little bit of a workout because that unit is pretty heavy. The other thing that I do, you've probably seen me do this before, but I also go ahead and just plug weld in a few spots. So I think I've got 4 plug welds in here. I've got a plug weld here, and then in the middle, and then on the end again, and then I just split between the middle and the end plug weld. So I guess there's actually would be 5 plug welds in there, just to make sure everything holds. I'm sure it does, but the spot welder makes quick work and a lot less dressing and fixing those welds up after you're all done. So right now I've just got the dash panel in the car, and I have not welded the ends of the dash panel yet. You'll get up here and you'll weld up underneath here. I've already drilled a hole or punched a hole there so that I can plug weld it to the dash brace. But the first thing that I want to do, or the next thing anyway, is I want to put the dash housing in here and get it in place, and then what I'll do from there is I will weld down below here based on how this fits to the dash housing itself. So it's either going to pull in a little bit or out a little bit, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to weld it in place and then put the dash housing in there and not be able to pull this end and the other end down onto the housing. So I'm just going to hang tight here, get the dash housing put in place, then I will weld these ends where they need to be and then pull the dash housing back out. So stay tuned. All right, so I just finished up welding in the upper dash panel for the 67 Chevelle. I've got the dash housing sitting in there as well. I wanted to put that in there before I welded these end pieces of the dash. These wrap around underneath, and then they weld to the dash bracket underneath there. So I always like to put the dash housing in there first to make sure that I get the location just where I want it. I can basically manipulate this a little bit to get it to pull in against the dash itself. So all set, all done here. Everything checks out as I may have said. I already test fitted the windshield. I have just one more thing to work on here before I finish them up. On each of the ends here, where the lower windshield channel welds to the upper dash panel, I do have a little bit of a gap here, and I have that on both sides. This is actually the better of the two. The other gap on the driver's side is just a little bit bigger. And unfortunately, this car was pretty rusted out here, so I don't have any reference pictures to go back and look at. So I am going to make a little piece that goes in here. I'm just going to use a piece off of another channel that I have. It's already, curved and bent the way that it needs to be. So I'm just going to cut a little piece off, and I'm going to stick it right in this section. I'm going to weld it in place. So that should do it. I don't think it needs to be super technical. All of this gets covered by the A-pillar wrap. As long as I just have a good flat area here that's closed up for the windshield to sit in, I think it'll be okay. So I did look at some other photos that some guys sent me of their cars, and it looks like, it just looks like this closes out originally. So I'm going to do that with a couple of little scrap pieces that I have, and that should finish up this job. As a wrap up to the 67 Chevelle dash install, the upper panel here, I thought I would just wrap things up by showing you where I fixed this, where I had a little bit of a gap here, where the lower windshield channel came over and was a little short, so there was a bit of a gap here in the corner of the windshield channel. So all I did is I made a little piece to fit right in there, put a little bit of an angle on it so that it came up the ledge here, and got that welded in, and then just finished it out here. And it looks pretty good. I wanted to make sure there's a little bit of a drainage, I don't know what you want to call it here, a little valley here for water to drain out. So I wanted to make sure that when I did this, I didn't block that off. So anyway, got that fixed here on the passenger side, and then if we come over to the driver's side, same thing here. Where again, I just had a bit of a gap here, and so I just took a piece of metal, spliced it in here to kind of finish out this channel. Turned out pretty good, so I'm happy with it. So that's pretty much it. That is everything here on the dash. Got the dash panel in here, welded in, good. And I've actually got the dash housing sitting in the car now. That's going to come out again here so that we can get some other work done back behind there. But just wanted to make sure that everything fit before I did all my final welding. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Hopefully that little videos that I put together were helpful. On to the next thing. I'm going to get the front clip on here next, and get the fenders put into place and get the new hood put on and see how it fits.